3 assignment, Battleships and Budgets. This is the tutorial video for those that may need it, either because you missed a class or maybe I don't see your class as much or you're a little bit confused on how this works. So what we're looking at right now is Google Sheets, which is a spreadsheet program. Spreadsheets are very useful for things like organizing data and also doing mathematical calculations. So by learning this sort of program, you're going to find life a lot easier when it comes to mathematical organization, making graphs, doing calculations, writing formulas. But we're going to start with some fun stuff here with just kind of learning how the program works by playing a classic game of Battleship. Other spreadsheet programs, by the way, include things like Excel and Numbers. And once you learn how to do this on one of them, you've pretty much mastered the others as well because they're very similar in their concept. So before we get into playing Battleship, let's just do a basic look at how spreadsheets are organized. We can see, for example, that there are these horizontal numbered rows on the left-hand side of the screen. You can see when I click on that, that would be row 1. And horizontal is easy to remember because the horizon is flat, and that is indicating a row. Across the top, we've got letters instead of numbers. These are vertical, and they're called columns. So right now, I have column E selected, and that is running from top to bottom. Now, you can see that our game space for Battleship is the blue outlined area here. This is where I'm going to be placing my ships in a moment. But it's really important to get used to the conventions of how to tell what cell you're in. Now, a cell is a rectangular box that we see in a spreadsheet program. And this, we have to know what this one's called. And Battleship is going to help train you on how to do that. You always go ahead, and let me just click on another one here. You can see that the blue box appears around that cell. You can see that we're in column C and we're in row 3. And all you have to know is that this would be identified as C3. That's going to become very handy for Battleship and also just for mathematical calculations down the road. If you've never played Battleship before, we've got some ships down below here. Before we do that, I think I should tell you that Control minus or Command minus on a Mac is going to zoom out, and Command plus is going to zoom in, or Control plus. That's going to be useful because you may want to see your full screen, or you may want to zoom into just like what one battleship is doing. You can see that we've got a carrier, a battleship, we've got 2 nuclear submarines, 1 regular submarine, and 2 destroyers. It's very important down here that you pay attention to how many cells it's supposed to take up. So the carrier is your biggest ship. When I click on it, you can see a blue box is around it, and you can see the little hand icon that appears when I'm inside. You can just drag that wherever you want. So let's say that I put the carrier here. The only thing I have to be careful of is that it fills up the indicated amount of cells. So we now know what a cell is. These rectangular boxes are cells. And if I count the cell, well, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the carrier is filling up the right amount of cells. Now, when might it not? Well, if I zoom way out, for example, or I zoom way in, then you may have to adjust the size of your ships. Okay, so I may have to make the ship smaller or bigger depending on your zoom level. But if you stay around this level of zoomage, then it's probably going to work out okay for you. So I'd go about and I'd place all my ships in different locations. Obviously, this little nuclear submarine is the hardest to hit because it's just one little cell here. So those are kind of your most useful ships. You'll notice here at the bottom that we've got 4 different tabs. We've got 2 that are blue and 2 that are purple. I'm just going to explain the blue part of the assignment, the battleship part, and the purple part will be described later on. So let's go ahead and switch to the second tab. And you're again picking a partner to play that's close by. So pick somebody right beside you. If there's an odd number of people, it could be 2 versus 1. That's fine. You can share a computer to play that way. So here we go. This sheet right here is to keep track of where you've tried to hit your opponent. So at the start of the game, you might play rock, paper, scissors, decide who goes first. Let's say it's me going first. So I've already placed my ships on this tab, and I haven't let my partner see that because this is very secretive. And I go to the other tab now, and I now have a chance to try to figure out where their ships are. So I might say A5 if I'm going first. Column A, row 5 would be this cell. My opponent's going to tell me, is there a ship on that cell or not? If there's not, I'm going to go ahead and take one of these little X's just to be able to keep track of where I've missed so far. Okay? You've got as many of those as you need. If you need more, you could press Control C, Control V. That would just copy another one. Over here, let's say it was a hit though. I'm going to go ahead and place a little explosion. I know that I've hit one of the battleships. The battleships cannot be placed, or any of the ships cannot be placed diagonally. So if I hit somebody here, then I know they're either going this way or perhaps they've rotated it up or down, like so. Just one quick little note here. If I am playing on offense and I do hit somebody here, my opponent should be going to their board and placing a hit on whatever ship that was. So if that was, for example, B6, my opponent must have a ship on B6. Let's just do that quickly. And they should be placing an explosion tab on that to indicate that they have a hit. If all of their cells are hit, then it should say hit and sunk. The other thing I wanted to draw your attention to was that it's not possible to rotate an image easily in Google Sheets. You can do it in Google Docs with a little rotate tab. So because it's not easy to do that, I've gone ahead and just included the vertical versions of your ships here. So please only use one or the other when you're placing your ships. They're the same things. They're just either one's horizontal or one's vertical. And again, you may have to adjust the amount of cells it takes up, especially on the vertical ships. So pay attention down below to how many cells it's supposed to take up if you are placing them this way. And if you do hit your opponent, then you get to go again. Let's say that it was a 2-cell ship, and I also hit here, then that must mean that I've hit which ship? Well, if we go back to the other tab, there's only one that is 2. I guess there's 2 destroyers. So I would know at that point that I've sunk one of the destroyers. My opponent would say hit and sunk, and then I would still go again. And I go again until I miss. Okay? So that's basically how the Battleship game works out. The reason why you're doing it, have fun, but also to learn the conventions of naming, of what a cell is, what is D2 versus D10, and that sort of thing. So have fun playing Battleship, and I'll be back to explain the next assignment later.